Today I'll be talking about a major relationship disease that has destroyed so many relationships. I'm talking about marital relationship. It has destroyed relationships, it has destroyed marriages. And what is that particular relationship disease? I'm talking about lack of listening, not listening. Has it ever occurred in a marriage, in your marriage? Maybe your husband about setting out in the morning and the wife tells the husband, please help me to get this number of things at the shopping mall, maybe 5 or 6 things. And then the husband tells her, oh, no problem, I'll get it for you. And then the husband gets to the shopping mall and the husband forgets about 2 or 3 of those things that she has requested. We couldn't record the order, so he just bought 1 or 2 things, bought those things that he feels are necessary at all. And then when you go back home, your wife began to criticize, began to nag and tell you, how come you forgot to buy this, you forgot to buy this, I told you this in the morning, you were not listening, you were not paying attention. I think it could have happened a couple of times. Lack of active listening has destroyed so many marriages. Now, what happened to that husband was that you were not actively listening to your wife while she was actually giving you, passing an information across to you. You were not listening. Your mind was not 100% with her while you were having that conversation. And it's very, very important that we learn how to listen actively to our spouses. Women express themselves by talking, and they feel loved when you listen to them, when you pay attention to what they are trying to say. They feel emotionally intimate with their loved one, with their spouse, when their spouse listens to them. But the challenge is that there's a major difference between a man and a woman. The way a man processes information is different from the way a woman does. A man wants to listen and wants you within the the shortest possible time, just go straight to the point. Maybe after your first 2-3 sentences, you go straight to the point and you tell him exactly what you want. But the woman, the way she's designed, she doesn't go straight to the point, okay? She wants to tell you a lot of things, and then at the end, she tells you the main point. But the man actually does not have the patience to wait to listen to all of those details. So it's very important that you understand how you can actually get your man to listen to you. Start with those very important, if you can summarize, and then if while you are asking or while you're telling him those things, you can ask him, do you understand what I just said? What do you think I should do? When you give him those questions and he responds, it means he's with you. And then you can now continue to give the details. Now, to the men, when you actively listen to your wife and then you have a conversation, that is one major form of emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy. And that is a very important aspect of intimacy to women. Emotional intimacy. To the men, physical intimacy is of utmost importance to the men, but not to the women, or not to most of the women. Most of the women, emotional intimacy is very important for them. So as a man, if you want to actually enjoy physical intimacy with your spouse, then spend time giving her that emotional intimacy. Let her feel she is loved by giving her your attention whenever she's talking to you. Listen actively, pay attention, and get whatever she wants to communicate to you. And then she feels happy. She feels, yes, loved. She feels loved. Now, let me give you these 4 ways you can actually cure this major disease that destroyed so many marriages. So the next time your spouse is talking to you, your wife communicates with you, 4 letters P-L-U-S, and that is plus. Plus. And what is plus? P stands for pause. L stands for listen. So the first thing you want to do is to pause. Stop whatever you're doing. Suspend every other thing, and then you will be able to give adequate attention to your spouse, and then you listen. Do not be too quick to speak. Do not be too quick to respond. You listen first. In fact, there are sometimes you might not even need to talk. Just listening alone does the magic. So you pause, you listen, then you understand. That is the you. Understand, try to process the information that you have just received. In trying to understand, you can ask her, did you just say this? Okay, are you trying to say this? Is this exactly what you're trying to say? Okay, when you ask those questions, you are trying to understand what your spouse has said. And then the last point there, the last cue is then you speak. You speak after you have understood. You speak after you've listened, understood what your spouse is saying, and then you speak. Now, if you go through those 4 processes, you effectively listen to your spouse. And the same thing applies to your wife as well. The wife, when the husband is talking, try to pause, listen, be patient, okay? And then understand what he's saying, and then before you speak. So while you are trying to understand, you are able to process your thoughts, and you're able to give a response that adequately fits. You can take note of all of these things and you can apply them. It's going to really help to get rid of that disease, that relationship disease, which is lack of listening, which has destroyed so many marriages, and your marriage will be better for it. So please do not forget, pause, listen, understand, and speak. And that is why speaking is actually the last part of that communication. Listening is a major part of communication. Listening, active listening, it carries a larger part of communication. When you listen, then you're able to understand what your spouse is saying. And that is why we have 2 ears and we have 1 mouth. You listen more, twice as much as you speak. So if you can do that, listen to your spouse, listen to your wife, then a lot of challenges, a lot of issues will be sorted. I have heard a lot of wives that tell us, oh, my husband, he doesn't listen, he doesn't like talking, he just likes to be alone and all of that. Men are actually wired to talk less. Women are wired to talk more. But as a man, if you really want to get the best of your wife, you need to know that you have to invest time listening to her, engaging her in conversation. And that is what emotional intelligence is. That is what emotional intimacy is to your spouse. And if you are able to meet that emotional need, and you also will find out that your own physical needs and every other need, they are sorted by your spouse. So that will be all for today. That is all on wisdom for marriage for today. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.